precisely. Any resolution on the checks that says nobody's correct. And I had not heard from me, so
There's got a place out, so you have to get client.
we've got one month and a half checks.
Yeah. We'll check on out.
This is the second round. Yeah. Okay,
Thank you.
I did it right away. Yeah. Last one that's next. Nobody in the right.
All meeting to order. Start the roll call.
Lori Samuelson,
Present.
Peter Kemp,
Here.
Logan Zuber,
Here.
Dave Schlemmer, Chris Lamb.
We have a form.
Don't forget to press your buttons.
Why is it not hearing you?
They don't turn on automatic, so you gotta start.
Oh, they don't. Okay. We have election of officers. First part of the meeting.
Oath of office. We do have a need to amend the agenda from when it was first sent to you. If we need to do oath of office for two of our new members.
Oh, do that first.
Yes.
Okay.
At their new election.
Would you be so kind?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. The first oath of office I'd like to do would be for Lori Samuelson. Lori, are you there?
I am.
Okay. Then repeat after me. I state your name.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
I state your
Sorry.
name.
I, Lori Samuelson,
Do solemnly swear
I solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
and the ordinances of the City of Auburn,
and the ordinances of the City of Auburn,
and that I shall faithfully,
then I shall faithfully,
honestly,
honestly,
and impartially
and impartially
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
as a member of the Board of Zoning Appeals
of the member of the Board of Zoning Appeals
of the City of Auburn
of the City of Auburn
until relieved,
until
relieved, kicked out,
until released or kicked out
according to the best of my skill
according to the best of my skills
and ability and according to law.
and ability according to law.
Okay, thank you. Next oath would be for
Thank you.
Christopher Lamb.
Yep.
Christopher, repeat after me, please. I state your name.
I, Christopher Lamb,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
to support the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
and the ordinances of the City of Auburn,
and the ordinances of the City of Auburn,
and that I shall faithfully,
and that I shall faithfully,
honestly and impartially
honestly and impartially
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
as a member of the Board of Zoning Appeals
as a member of the Board of Zoning Appeals
of the City of Auburn
of the City of Auburn
until relieved,
until relieved,
according to the best of my skill and ability and according to law.
to the best of my ability and skill, according to
in accordance of law.
in accordance with the law.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Back to you, Pete.
Thank you. Okay, now I'll proceed with election of officers. We have a nomination for secretary.
I nominate Logan Ziegler as secretary.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, a nomination for vice chairman.
Nominate Dave Schlemmer for vice.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nomination for chairman.
Nominate Pete Kemp for chairman.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And I see we were given the list of our tenures and our ending terms.
My address and phone number is in error.
We can fix that.
I'll give it to you after the meeting.
Perfect.
Okay, good. Have an opportunity to review the October minutes, Dave. I guess you and I, how do you handle that when only two people?
You affirm that they're published, everybody can still vote on it. You're voting on it.
Yes, you can still vote on it.
I
Okay.
read them.
Okay, I didn't see any changes.
Yeah, nor did I.
Okay, may I have a motion to approve?
Move we approve.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's approved. Any other changes to the agenda? Okay. We have no old business. We'll open the floor to new business. BZA Special Use Variance 2025-001. Staff report.
Thank you, sir. Jim Catterett, City Planner for Auburn. So Brian Fleming, representing Fort Wayne Storage LLC, filed a request for a special exception to utilize property that's located at 551 Lay Drive for a self-storage facility. A request for special exception requires public hearing, was advertised in the Star on February 12th. And there were 7 adjacent property owners that we sent notice to of the hearing this evening. The property itself, you'll see, is located, it's just to the east of I-69, the south end of Lay Drive as it traverses past Walmart and intersects with Rom Drive. The property is highlighted in red. It's currently zoned C2. The land to the northeast west is also zoned C2. The land to the south, the wooded area that's south of this tract of land is actually zoned agricultural commercial. A couple of photographs of the property just to visualize it. This is Lay Drive when you look southwest at the site. This is from Rom Drive looking west towards the interstate. And this is the very end of Lay Drive. You can see Jerry Junction Apartments off to the left. This is an aerial view. So if you go from Rom Drive to the north part of the screen is where the development would be located at. It would extend a little bit into the wooded area. So most of the woods to the south of this property is actually a tree farm property, but there are some woods that are contained within the lots in question. With the notices that we sent out, and we did place a public notice sign on the property. We've been doing that lately. It just allows people to be notified of, hey, something's happening on this property. That actually spurred a call. So one of the residents of the apartments called. They didn't have objections to the use. I think they were just wondering, was it going to extend behind their unit? They live further to the east. The facility would extend behind a few of the units towards the back. The first, if you would, the first two buildings would back up to the storage units. They didn't have any objections, just wanted to know what was happening. Then we had a one other question through email inquiry, again with questions, no objections have been filed. So the site plan for the project, as you look at it here, it does encompass 2 lots of the Speed subdivision, and they're proposing both indoor climate-controlled storage facilities as well as your traditional outdoor doors for storage as well. A number of buildings. You can see they have 2 indoor storage buildings. The remaining buildings are the outdoor accessed buildings. The entire development would have pavement. It would be built in phases. So the main building, the northernmost building, indoor storage, and 2 of the unit buildings would be constructed phase 1. It does propose the drive access to be off of Lay Drive. So right now, Lay Drive, the pavement stops. They would continue the pavement onto their private property to provide access to the units themselves. I supplied a couple of building elevations, what's proposed. This is the climate controlled building. Again, all the access to the units, interior. These would be the individual storage unit buildings. Again, your traditional self-storage buildings. So with the request itself, so a self-storage facility within our C2, which is our general commercial district. That's our most intensive commercial zoning district. But it does identify the use as a special exception. And a special exception are those uses that they're permitted in the district, provided that there are certain conditions met, that it's found to be appropriate for that property. So it's specific to the site. A lot of property that's zone C2, some of it may be amongst all of other, commercial uses. Some of it may be adjacent to residential. And so this was one use that was identified as appropriate for the right location, if you would. And that's what you're trying to decide. Is this an appropriate location for self-storage facilities? Again, I mentioned the C2 district. It is for our moderate to high intensity commercial uses. So as you go up and down 7th Street, is our main C2 zone corridor. So it's a high traffic generator district of uses, and high intensity uses are allowed in the C2. I mentioned the Speed subdivision, which is just recently established. It was 2 lots. The subdivision, when it was platted for these 2 lots, did anticipate extending Lay Drive and actually turning it into a cul-de-sac. On the map on the screen, and I've identified in red basically what the cul-de-sac street would have been. The idea was they were going to have 2 separate commercial developments on each lot. This proposal anticipates vacating that part of it's not built, it's on paper, but it was proposed to be built. So if the use is approved this evening, they will have to follow up with a request to our city council to vacate the right of way of that cul-de-sac. And then they can incorporate that land area into their development. So if you can scroll back to the site plan for a second, you can vaguely see the cul-de-sac itself coming down. So they anticipate, if it does get vacated, just to incorporate that land area into their development. The reason the plat showed the cul-de-sac was because of that southern lot 2. It had to have access to a street. So they had to extend the street down to make that a buildable lot. But since this individual is buying both lots, they have access to the public street, that portion of Lay Drive that's already built. So under our UDO, they don't have to build the cul-de-sac to make this one development. Identified there are other self-storage facilities. We're probably all familiar with them. There's at least 6 within the city limits existing, different facilities, and then 2 additional facilities in our ETJ area. So it is a use that does have a demand within our community. I mentioned again the climate controlled buildings, so there'd be two of those. They have direct, and then the traditional facilities with the direct door access. The outdoor accessible storage unit area would be enclosed with the fence and would have an access gate. So because it's a 24/7 facility. The indoor building doesn't, has its own self-contained control. The gate would be for when you actually enter into the outdoor storage area. I mentioned the Jerry Junction apartment. You can see again with the red line, the development would be adjacent to three of the buildings. These are duplex buildings. They are rental units. So there would be those buildings would actually have as its immediate neighbor the storage facility. I already mentioned that the entire development area would be paved. The conceptual plan does anticipate, of course, is with the pavement and with the buildings, there's going to be stormwater runoff. So they do have a stormwater plan that collects the stormwater. It actually directs it to the storm sewer that's on Rom Drive. And then that goes into a detention pond area that's to the east and to the south. It's behind the apartment units. It's actually where Walmart their water eventually gets to as well. It's built as a regional detention area for the entire commercial area there. So all the Applebee's and the hotels, all that water finds its way to this stormwater detention basin. It's actually a wetland, an identified wetland area. It's to the east of this proposed property. The Drainage Board has actually already considered this plan, not specific to the storage units, but to the overall development of these two lots. And the water going to the storm system is acceptable. So that plan will work. Well, that's always a concern for neighbors is what happens with the storm water going from grass to pavement. So that has been addressed. And again, as always, you have the ability to place reasonable conditions on the request. So as we look at the storage unit facility, what would be a reasonable condition to make it, if you would, appropriate for whatever the neighbors are? There's a reason it's listed as a special exception. So we have to make sure this property is appropriate for that use. And so with that, staff, as we looked at this request, it's zone C2. And actually, one of the questions we got was concern on traffic generation, which is an interesting question in that the C2 district allows some very intensive uses by right. So there's a lot of things that could go there that have a much higher trip generation for traffic than storage units. Storage units is actually one of your lowest traffic generators of commercial uses. So we look at that. So we like the fact that we do have residential next to it. So we need to protect those residential units. But again, with the traffic generation of this use, it's going to be less than what could be there. And we also like the orientation of the buildings that they're showing, because none of them are directly oriented towards the units as far as the outdoor storage units. Those are the ones that have the most impact, garage doors going up and down when people are getting in and out. The indoor building does face the residential units, but again, it's all contained indoors. So, and with that, so staff does recommend the approval of the special exception request. We do recommend two conditions. The first one would be that all these access drives and the parking areas be paved. We think it's important that this project at this location have all those areas paved. The second would be that we would want to see a privacy fence or landscape screening be installed along the property line adjacent to the residential dwelling units. Could you scroll real quick back to the site plan? So there were two specific areas where it's adjacent to residential. So we would want to have some screening along the two units, buildings that are there, and then along the back. So whether it's a privacy fence or some type of more dense landscape screening or combination, we just feel there should be some separation between the storage unit area and the residential units, just to give them a little bit of privacy from the units. And so not required by code, And I think that's an appropriate condition in this instance because of the use itself, which is trying to make some separation between residential and commercial. So those are the two conditions that we would recommend. We also submitted proposed findings of fact for this special exception for your consideration. That concludes staff report. Yeah.
The water coming off of the hard surface.
Yeah.
Will that go underground and connect to the
Yes.
sewage?
It will. So they're showing in their conceptual plan, they're showing a storm system. So we'll have inlets in the parking lot areas and roof drains, et cetera, that would direct the water to the city stormwater system on Lay Drive and
Which is
Rock Drive.
underground.
All underground.
Okay. Good.
Yep.
Any other questions? No. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, would the developer like to come up and add anything to the project? Please state your name and address. And
Sure. Did a great job presenting.
You're good.
Don't really know if I need to add
yeah, a
anything.
lot of times you don't need.
Do I need to? I mean, I really don't feel like I need to. I can tell you the size. My name's Wes Timmerman. I'm the vice president with Fort Wayne Storage. I'll tell you guys the general size. It's about 57,000 square feet, 60,000 square feet of storage space, 50 of it being inside, the balance being outside. Short of that, did a great job presenting. I guess I really don't have anything else unless the members do.
We do have a couple of photographs we could share.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. And these are of past projects or current buildings, facilities that we have.
Need an address for the gentleman?
An address?
Yep.
14719 Whisper Rock Boulevard, Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Thank you.
That's our latest project that we just recently completed this time last year. Anyway,
On the drawing that we saw, there was glass on the there. There was glass in the ends. You plan on doing that here too?
yes, yeah, we intend to do that on all four corners and then in our above our office. Yes,
It really
that's the-
upgrades the look of the property. doesn't it?
we think so. We think it does. It's better than just a square box.
With some of your previous layouts, you appeared to have fencing around the perimeter. Are you intending on putting that here or just in the required areas if that's a condition?
We would put fencing around the perimeter of the facility for security reasons as well.
What traditional type of fencing is that?
It's a mix of chain link as well as wood fence. We've done both. We've done wooden privacy fence when it butts up to residential areas. And I believe it illustrates that in one of the pictures. There, along the back, you can see we have a wooden fence along the residential area back there.
Oh, okay.
No problem.
Great. Any other questions?
I'm
Thank
good.
you very much.
Thank you.
Would anyone else in the audience like to speak to the project? No? In that case, I will close the public hearing. Board discussion?
All looks good.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I'm glad to hear about Lay Drive extending that way because the way people drive in that Walmart lot off 15th and U-Hauls coming down that way would be quite interesting.
I missed it. What did you say?
I like that you're going to extend Lay Drive because where Walmart is situated, as an older resident and going into Walmart, the way people drive in there, having to have U-Hauls come in and out of your facility, trying to maneuver around all those folks at Walmart would be real fun. So I like hearing that.
Any other discussion?
Nope.
We're in agreement?
Yep.
Okay. Gene, would you please read the findings of fact?
Yes, sir. This is the findings of fact for Fort Wayne Storage Special Use Variance and BZA Special Use 2025-1. Number one, the proposed special exception is or is not consistent with the purpose of the zoning district in the Auburn Comprehensive Plan.
It is.
you wish to adopt staff's finding?
Yes.
Number 2, the proposed special exception will or will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community.
Will
Will
not.
not.
And you wish to adopt staff's finding?
Yes.
Yes.
3, the proposed special exception is or is not in harmony with all adjacent land uses.
Is.
And do you wish to adopt staff finding there?
Yes.
And 4, the proposed special exception will or will not alter the character of the district.
Will not.
And you wish to adopt staff finding?
Yes.
5, the proposed special exception will or will not substantially impact property value in an adverse manner.
Will not.
And you wish to adopt a staff finding there?
Yes.
Those are the findings. Any conditions?
Well, may I have a motion regarding the finding and the due conditions placed on the project by staff?
Right.
Move to approve BZA Special Use 2025-001 with the 2 recommended staff conditions.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. Good luck to you.
Welcome.
Welcome to the community.
Yeah, welcome to Auburn.
Well, first step in the leg of the journey. You got 2 more ahead of you.
See how plan commissions are.
Yeah, most of you. Well, council will get them first.
Who gets them first?
Council will get them first
Oh, yeah.
for the roundabout.
Who seconded?
I did.
Is there any other business? We have a meeting next month.
We will not. Today was a filing deadline. Did not
Oh,
see the
wow.
applications come in, so
Wow.
We're so busy.
That's the good thing. That
I
means
know.
the UDO is doing what it's supposed to do.
You're in here every month with like a sign for like 4 months straight.
Right.
A sign variance for the same thing.
Oh.
And then we fixed it.
I could see that.
And now we're not here.
That's the goal. Is when we
Yeah.
clean up, that get
Got it all
approved,
cleaned up.
change the UDO, adopt it, and
Yep.
move forward.
it makes a difference.
Any reports?
Nope.
Discussion?
No, sir.
Motion to adjourn?
Move we adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yay.
Thank you, Chief.
Now, if you would just talk to HR and
Yes.
sort of prod them along a little. I mean, I hate to be a pain. I keep
No.
calling them.
I'll address it.
No, you don't.
Well, he wants to get his taxes done. I don't blame him.
Good thing you said something because I just got it in the mail and I just scanned it and sent it to my bookkeeper.
I usually wait until the first of March and